Thanks for joining us. There's a large group. So really quickly, before we get going, if we could make sure we stay on mute. I know a lot of us are getting used to doing stuff by Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, but just a reminder as we've got. And if I hear people coming through, we're going to mute you. So Valerie, you're going to have to look and see who that was and mute them. And if this consistently goes on, we're going to have to remove you because it's difficult to do this in the time that we've got if we can't get through the material. So again, welcome everybody. So I'm going to go through this material as quickly as I can. There will be time for questions at the end, so please hold them. Or if you think of something and can't remember it, just put it in the chat. And then at the end, I'm going to start taking the questions out of the chat. And then if we run out of those and we've still got time, we'll ask you to raise your hand and we'll take questions as they come. So here's the agenda for tonight, for this evening. I won't be doing all the talking, which is unusual, and it's probably good for all of you. The board, I'll introduce you to the board, and then we'll be taking kind of whoever's discipline it is will be talking about that particular subject. So first we'll start with an introduction, then we'll go into probably it's a very short section around resources. I'm going to try something I haven't done before. Normally I do screenshots. I'm going to try and do it live on the web this time. If it doesn't work, I have a fallback, which is screenshots. The main section will be on player focus, which is where all our focus should be, on making sure the players have fun and enjoy the experience. And then last but not least, I've got about 3 or 4 slides as to what our goals are to collectively as parents, and I include coaches in there because a lot of you parents are coaches, and of course our board. So let me introduce the board, having mentioned the board. What I'm going to ask each one of them to do is to introduce themselves. You can read the slide, which this is the biggest board we've had since I've been associated with the program since 2014. It's I'm really, I have to say, proud of this board and what they do. And so I'm going to let them talk a little bit about them, and you can read from the slide what they actually do. So I'll go first. A lot of you know me anyway. I've been running this program. This will be my 5th year. I have been passionate about soccer ever since I could stand up. I've played professionally. I've played semi-professionally. I've coached in 4 different countries. And I love coaching here and making sure this program is one of the best that I've been associated with. And you can see on the slide what I do. So really looking forward to another great season. Michael.
Yeah, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm the assistant program director. I have 2 children in the program. This will be my 5th season coaching. My passion in the program is in the coaching, and my primary focus has been working with the coaches to get them to improve their skills so that the players can improve alongside them. And I'm also our liaison to the Eastview Athletic Association main board, which oversees all of the 16 sports programs in that association.
Thanks, Michael. Valerie.
I am Valerie Magnuson. I currently have 1 child in the program. This is my 4th year on the board, and I think it's my daughter's like 8th year in the program. So it's kind of a lot of fun to help the teams be successful on the field and get the coaches what they need to be successful and have a good time.
Thanks, Valerie. Amanda.
I'm Amanda. I'm finished almost at 1 full year on the board. I have 2 kids in the program. My daughter's, this is her 8th year, and then my son is in pre-K kindergarten. And I just really enjoy being part of this organization, and I really like being able to help the kids grow and see them get better every year.
Great. Thanks, Amanda.
I'm Nicole Mitdahl, and this is my 1st season on the board. I have 1 child in the program. She's been in for 3 years now, and 1 child chomping at the bits to also get in and start playing. I have been recently overseeing our marketing communications, so the activity you've been seeing on social media has been new, and I am excited to be part of the board, just getting the word out and growing our enrollment.
Thanks, Nicole. John.
Hi, I'm John Coleman. I have a daughter in the program and currently in the grade 6 to 9 level, which is really taking off. So it's a really good program. I handle website updates, referee assignment, and design.
Thanks, John.
Hi, my name is Ben Kabilka. I also have a daughter in the 6 to 9. She's been playing for, I think, 4 or 5 years. I've also coached a few years. But my main role is making sure there's equipment, making sure all the kids have jerseys and trophies, and setting up photos.
Thanks, Ben. Last but not least.
Hi, everyone. John Pelica, parent liaison, another resource for you during the season. I have 3 daughters that played in the program since pre-K, 2 that are currently in it, and 1 that's playing at different levels. So glad to have everybody here today. Thanks.
Thanks, John. So that's the board. And if you want to reach any of us, you can find us on the website, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So listen, our commitment to you is three things, really. And the first one I was put up front because it's to have fun. This is a rec program. We're not here to win every game. We're here to enjoy it. The second is to make this the best value for money rec community program. And we've set ourselves up for that. And I think you'll see that as this unfolds. Some of you have been on our program before, so there's a few new things you'll see this evening. And some of the things you'll see me repeating from before. But maybe I'll say them slightly differently. And then I think thirdly is looking at websites, including even Salvo, I think we provide some of the best online resources. So I hold our hand up and say we can compete in terms of resources and what we can provide you with travel programs. I'm not going to read that. You can read it quicker than I can probably, but I think the capitals is the bold is the most interesting part of this, is to participate in a soccer experience that emphasizes fun. And you'll hear me say that quite often during this short presentation. Our soccer program is a recreational soccer program for kids, as you can see, for that age group, and it's open to all to participate. And when I say open to all to participate, we gave a record number of financial aid this year. So we mean what we say. One thing I wanted to talk about, normally I show the numbers in the program, and I'll do that anyway. But before I get to that, I wanted to talk to you about the fact that we've a big breakthrough this year. We've moved from co-ed. Now, historically, ever since I've been associated with the club, we've had co-ed. And the real reason, to be honest, is because we couldn't raise enough separate boys and separate girls in that age group to have separate boys and separate girls teams. And that's a problem for the development of the kids. And I'll demonstrate why. What we're doing by moving from co-ed is we're enhancing player development. Practice and games are tailored so that they work for those age groups in those genders. It improves confidence and leadership because they thrive in an environment where the boys can actually tackle the boys now, and the girls can decide whether they want to or not. But it's none of that resistance or defensiveness that they have to feel. They're in their own environment. There's stronger team dynamics as well with single gender teams. And then lastly, there's expanded competitive opportunities. So this was a big breakthrough, and we could only do it really to make it interesting and have enough teams if we combined with other clubs. And I'll come to that in a second. I'll go back to the numbers in a second. What we've done is combined with Egan, which we've done for the last 2 years, and it's really helped. It helped our co-ed program. And then we approached Valley, and in fact Burnsville, and they had the same issue. They could, in their cases, they could only raise 1 team or 2 teams. But if we go down the route we're going now, we actually, and I'll show you the numbers in a minute, rising tide helps all ships sail, right? And so now we've got a really interesting separate boys and separate girls roster. So here's the numbers. In red is the current spring numbers. The black is 2024 spring. So I'm comparing year on year. And you'll see most of the numbers are up considerably. And then when you move down to what we had as co-ed, there were 4 6 to 9 co-ed. and we had 4 girls. Now we've moved to 6 girls, which is quite an increase. And then, of course, we moved up to 9 boys, which is 5 from EVSC, 2 from Egan, 1 from Burnsville, and 1 from VAA. So you can see now we've considerably raised our numbers, and we're pleased because it's right for the kids. It really is right for them. They'll have a lot more fun, and it'll be good for their development. So let me move on. Let's go to resources. So we have a little motto that you've heard before, which is on the back of that T-shirt there, which is actually John's. It's if you got any questions, it's on the website. And so our mantra is, what's the question? It's on the website. And if you ever find things that are not on there that we think should be there, please tell us. I don't know whether Alex Curry is on yet.
I'm on.
Great. So Alex, this is where I introduce you. This is the varsity team, and this is actually Alex Curry. He's standing back end right, and then that's him on the right. And we've been working really closely with Eastview High School for a number of years now. And Alex, I just want to give you the stage for a couple of minutes just to talk through how why that's important and how we work together.
Yeah, Peter, thanks for having me on. Thank you all parents for being here as well. I mean, seeing almost 230 people on here is remarkable. The fact that you guys care enough to be here, that you are getting your sons and daughters involved in this beautiful game means that we have a good future. I truly believe if you look at the best clubs in the world, they stem from an in-house. They stem from building up from within. And America's kind of moved away from that. And you can also see, at least the men's national, how that has looked. Women are still phenomenal. They are one of the best teams to watch in the world. But if we can get the in-house, if we can get the grassroots moving in this community and keep it going where it is and building off, we are going to be a better program from the ground up, which in the end also helps me. So I'm doing this for a couple different reasons. One, my kids are involved in the programs. Two, I'm the head coach at the varsity level, and I want to see these kids come through the program and be successful in the program. And I think really the way to do that is what EVA is doing to start out these kids at these different levels. And so Peter's going to be talking through different resources, but there's also resources that we put on there. If you ever want to know kind of what coaches have, we have skills, we have things that we want these kids and how these kids can develop. And so thank you for the coaches that are choosing and helping coach and volunteering to coach this year. Thank you to the parents. I'm going to be honest with you, and I haven't said this before, and I think I need to start saying it more, is if your kid loves soccer, encourage them to play soccer. Soccer can't just be done once or twice a week. If you want to get great at soccer, it can't just be done once or twice a week. If they have a true love, just go out and play with them, show them what they can do, and just encourage that love of the sport, because that's what got me where I am. And so I hope some of your children will have that love, and some of them might just be here to have fun and make friends. Either way, soccer is a great community sport. It's full of teams and everything else, and I think EVA does a great job of trying to build that community. So thank you again for being here. Thank you, Peter, for having me. And if you have any questions, let me know.
You're very welcome, Alex. So, and this is a great partnership, and we gain a lot. But we like to feel ourselves as a feeder into the high school, and we have provided a lot of kids into that school. And I know Niels, who was one of our coaches, is coming back to coach with us. Also coaches at the high school, and he's been part of that feeding to the high school as well, and that partnership. So I'd like to thank him too. All right, let me move on because I'm aware of the time. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go to the web and do this, he says, live. Bear with me. Okay, so this, if you go to our website and go to soccer, and I'm hoping that you can see the screen, Valerie, right? Valerie.
Yes, Phil.
Yeah.
Peter.
All right, just making sure that it's showing. So if you go to soccer, you'll land on this page, which is spring season 2000. All the key dates are in here. And as you can see down the right-hand side, there's a summary of them, which is a really good idea. And John Coleman put this together. And then here's your practice and game schedule. And then if you scroll further down, you can go to, say, 6 to 9, and here's the schedule. 3 to 5, here's the schedule. If you go further down, these are not fully up to date, but I think we're nearly there. In fact, John, I noticed you've done quite some work on this. Here's the field maps, and they scroll across like a carousel, but you can stop them. But here's all the, I'm scrolling across the carousel myself now by hitting the arrows. There's pre-K and K fields. There's the grade 1 to 2. There's the 3 to 5, and so on. So you've got all the fields. You can actually take a screenshot of them if you need them, and then the equipment requirements down the bottom. All right, if we go to level information, so hit that tab, that gives you all of the level information that you need. And you can go across, as you can see here, for each age group. Now, here's the piece I wanted to allude you to, is the parent info. Guys, there is, as I said right at the beginning of this, we like to feel that we add more resources than anybody. Just look at this. There's a guide for parents. There's an overview about soccer and the rules. There's a complete guide for parents. There's a simplified soccer rules guide. There's weather guidelines. Please note this. Process for cancelling games. Please also note this. The rules around the 3 to 5 build out lines, which I'm not going to go into, but they're there. And then what we would like parents to do while watching a soccer game. And they're fairly simple, and I'll cover a couple of them towards the end of this. And then there's one-page rules for the different grades, because there's different, when we start refereeing at grade 3 to 5, and then of course at 6 to 9, there's slightly different rules for those age groups. And there's a summary in here. In fact, I'll probably open it. There it is. 3 to 5, 5 to 8, and co-ed. Really simple to follow. All right. Then up the top here is coaching info. If you want to go in and see what we give the coaches, it's there. And there's a whole lot, you can see the resources here: grade rules chart, simplified soccer rules, there's a handbooks for them to help them with running practices and drills. There's small-sided game benefits, and guess what, parents watching the soccer game, how to stop scoring when you're already killing it. There's nothing worse than a team losing 7-0, 8-0. It's really, it doesn't have to be that way. This is not travel. We're not trying to get as many goals as we can. And then the last section is referees. Is because we have a really close relationship with the referees. We actually got some rules and guidelines for them, and we actually put in information for them, just as much as we do for each of the parents and the coaches. So that's a quick whiz through of that. So plenty of resources, evassports.org, and go to soccer. And also you can get the board information there as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to I'm going to try and go back to there. All right, so I skipped through a lot there because instead of going through all these screenshots, I actually took you through the resources fairly quickly. One thing I wanted to take you through is this slide here. So Nicole, could you talk a little bit about Facebook for us? I'm sorry, I'll get to that slide.
Yes. So if you are already following us on Facebook, that's great. You have probably seen we are very active on there. We're announcing new add-ons to the program. We had futsal, which was a new ad that we had this winter. We've got camps. We have coaches coming in to help our goalies. All of these things, we are just putting out a newsletter, but you can get them a lot faster if you follow us on Facebook. Also throughout the season, if there's other announcements that we need to be making, we are definitely utilizing this quite a bit more. So if you could please go to Facebook, follow us, that would be really helpful.
Sorry, slides keep got a mind of their own at the moment. Thanks, Nicole. That's great. And actually, Nicole keeps that really up to date. There's really good videos, great information. Please use it because it's our best vehicle to communicate, to be honest. So moving on, I've done that. So I'm going to keep moving. I think the next slide is for you again, Nicole, because I've skipped some of this stuff. So let's go to player focus. And Michael, I think you take over after this slide. So Nicole, do you want to talk to the volunteering?
Yes. So as you've seen in some of our communication that we've recently been sending out, that we're definitely, our program is growing. This is one of the highest number seasons of enrollment that we've had. And we are so thankful for all of the parents that have volunteered to coach. But we understand that sometimes they can't be there every single game. And on top of that, it is really, really helpful to have two people helping, whether that's just keeping the kids entertained on the sideline, helping the coaches while they're out coaching on the field, calling out when it's time to sub in, helping keep track of the breaks and the time clock. And then, of course, I know you guys are always great at bringing those snacks. But even if, just like the snacks, when you just volunteer for 1 or 2 games throughout the season, doing the same thing for some of in these other areas would be really helpful as well. And it doesn't need to just be parents. So if there's a grandparent that really likes to be involved, an older sibling, cousins, it can be them as well. And you could only commit to 1 game, even when you get there. But we are definitely going to be encouraging the coaches that already have volunteered to be asking parents and other family members to help them out during the game. So please help them volunteer. This program can't keep going if we don't have enough volunteers. The other thing that we have, and I'll talk more about this in a little bit, but we are offering an opportunity for high school students to earn community service hours. And they could do coaching, which would be a commitment throughout the season, or if they just need a couple hours, they could also volunteer here for just a game or 2. So reach out to me if you have any questions on that. And we'll get to the questions at the end. So I saw one pop up there. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm going to hand this section over to you, Michael, soccer schedules and sports engine. So let's start with this one.
Yeah, so before we go do equipment, just so everybody's aware, our soccer schedules are currently being put together by our IT people, and those will roll out on the Sports Engine app, hopefully about a week before the season starts, so April 21st. And so if you don't have the Sports Engine app already, you should download that. Use the email address you associated with your child when you registered. And all of our scheduling is done through that app. So it'll tell you when you have a game or a practice, what field you're on, and from what time. And it'll also tell you your opponent. So if perhaps you get there early and your coach isn't there yet, you can look for people from the other team and know that you're in the right place. Going on to equipment, obviously some of you are new to the program, so we want to cover some of this, but these are also good reminders for everybody. Every player needs shin guards. These go on the inside. The sock covers it. Don't strap them on the outside of the sock because that actually presents a danger to the other players of getting an abrasion or something else like that. Absolutely no jewelry. We've run into this issue before where parents get their child's ears pierced shortly before the season, and then they want to tape over them and still let the child play. We cannot allow that. It's an insurance issue for us, and so there's no jewelry allowed of any sort.
And just when the kids get older, 3 to 5, if I can add 6 to 8, the referees, certified referees, and they're all certified that we use, are told that no child is allowed to play with jewelry. That is a risk not only to our insurance, but to the referee's certification.
Glasses have to be tethered, so there has to be some sort of a strap or something to keep them on. Obviously, if you can afford them, recreational goggles are the best option, but those can get expensive. So if you do want to use your child's regular eyeglasses, that's fine, but they need to have some sort of a tether to keep them attached to the head. No baseball caps of any type. That's a safety issue as well in soccer. And finally, no hoodies. And this isn't more of an issue for the spring. I mean, maybe early in the spring, but more of an issue in the fall. But the risk here is that someone's got a hooded sweatshirt and a player may deliberately or not deliberately choose to yank the other player down by the hoodie, and that's very dangerous. It's kind of the equivalent of a horse collar tackle in American football. One exception to that, if it is a very cold or rainy night and your child needs an extra layer, If the hoodie can be tucked in behind the jersey, then we will allow that. So maybe a thinner or a smaller hoodie if you feel that's appropriate. I'm also in charge of player safety. All of our coaches are up to date on the latest concussion training and protocol. It's required of them to coach. It's probably a 45-minute to 1 hour long course, and there's testing throughout to make sure that you're maintaining I think it's 80% you have to get right on all the questions. We do take this seriously. We also don't allow heading at the younger age groups because the science supports that those little brains are still developing at a state where that kind of contact with the head is not a good thing for them medically. Also on player safety, all of our coaches undergo thorough background checks. They're good for, I believe, 3 years. And then they lapse and they're told they got to submit to the background check again. So you can rest assured that when you see a coach with an Eastview Soccer Club coaching jersey on, that they've been properly vetted, both on the concussion training and on a background check basis. We also have spearheaded as a club an effort to install AED devices where our players play. They're not everywhere yet. We're in the process of maybe considering some additional sites, but there is one, and the one that's pictured here is at Quarry Point Park, where pretty much everybody in 3 to 5 and 6 to 9 will play. And so it's available. We've entered into a partnership with the city where we basically pay all the money to put this in, and then they take care of the maintenance on it from then on. So just be aware, and all the coaches are aware as well, that if there is, God forbid, such an event like that, there is an AED available on site for use. All of our coaches wear a blue coaching jersey. This one's a little bit outdated, but it has the team logo on it and coach on the front of the jersey, and on the back it'll have whatever they choose to have. Usually it'll be Coach so-and-so. So mine says Coach Mike. And we require our coaches to wear these at all times while they're coaching so that they're identifiable to you, the parents, and to the referees, and also anybody visiting to understand that we have, again, vetted and trained professional people in charge of watching your children while they play. So when we look at what is success from our perspective as a soccer club, it's not about winning. It's about many other things that are important. And you can read these out, but we want kids to get better at skills. We want them to learn the value of teamwork and the value of discipline. We want them to be fit. Soccer is a phenomenal sport for fitness. You basically don't stop running if you're doing it right. Making your own decisions. Am I going to pass the ball or am I going to shoot the ball? Am I going to try to throw it to my friend Ryan, or am I going to throw it to my friend Buddy because he's in a better position to maybe score a goal or do something like that? We want the children to build confidence in themselves by working together with their friends to achieve success together. This is a commitment. Obviously, at the younger levels, it's less of a commitment maybe than the older levels, but everybody's playing at least twice a week, and we're expecting everybody to be there. And we also want them to take pride in that sense of teamwork and communal accomplishment. And finally, we really preach about sportsmanship. We finish every game with a handshake line, the other team. There's absolutely no room in this program for unsportsmanlike behavior. And in fact, it's not uncommon for players to have played with someone 1 year and the next season they're playing against them. And for parents and the players cheering on their actual on-field opponents, but being happy for them when they're succeeding, which is really what it's all about. Why we don't focus on winning is because it can have the following outcomes. It can lead to incidents with coaches, either coach on coach or coach on parent or coach on referee. It can lead to spectators harassing officials, which we absolutely don't tolerate. And the kids see all this and they end up not having fun. It's not fun if your dad is engaged in a argument with a coach or a referee or another parent. And no kid should have to be exposed to that. And ultimately that can lead to a feeling of disappointment. If we just focus on winning and the team's not a winning team or doesn't win that particular game, then the kids are naturally going to be disappointed. And that's the exact opposite of what we want, is that we want the kids to have fun and gain confidence and improve. These are a few of the things we'll see parents yell at games that we we would ask you not to do. Shoot. Soccer's not all about shooting. Don't pass back. That's just ridiculous. If you think about, if you're not familiar with soccer, think about basketball. It's all about spacing and about ball movement. And it's about moving the ball around, whether forwards or backwards or side to side, in order to create the best scoring opportunity. So that is almost always in soccer going to involve passing back to create that space. Kick it and pass. Basically, our point on this is that this is the stuff for the coach to be doing. The coach is coaching the players on their tactics and what they want to see out of them. So just yelling words of encouragement, like "good job, Bobby," or really good hustle, Betty, whatever it is. Just encourage the players rather than maybe yelling at them about what they should do or shouldn't do. And we're having our coaches sessions in a couple weeks, and we're going to cover a lot of this material with them. But these are the things that our coaches have repeatedly told us they want from you as the parents. First is just get people there on time. If people aren't there on time, it pushes everything back, and it can kind of throw off the coach's plans as far as warm-ups and practices. And the players are, you're paying for this time, so use it to the full potential. We'd like you to pay attention, be engaged, obviously be present. And then I just covered this, but refrain from coaching, but encourage your players and their teammates and players from the other team for that matter. If they make a good play, or they might need it. We need you to stay back from the sidelines. So, make sure you've got a solid 1.5 feet, 2 feet back from the line. And at the older age groups where there's referees, that's because the assistant referees are going to be running up and down that sideline all game. And the last thing we need is them tripping over you or anything like that. And then at the younger age groups, and the older age groups, we need that space in order to do things like throw-ins. They need to have room to work. And then this goes along with getting to practice on time, but is a little bit different. But if you're not going to be there, let us know. So we understand that people make other plans. If you're not going to be there because your family's taking a vacation, or your child's sick, or there's a conflict with some other commitment, just let us know that ahead of time. Let your coach know that ahead of time, so that they can plan accordingly.
This is okay. So I'm going to take this back, Michael. So thanks very much for that section. I'm just going to take it back for here. So it's a kind of summary of what Michael was on this, what we would like from you. So that's the board really and the program. Please be respectful to coaches, players, and referees. We have, unfortunately, in the time I've been in this program, I can literally count the number of incidents we've had on one hand, which is good in 5 years. But one incident is one too many, and it's just for all the reasons that Michael gave, it's just not good. It's not setting an example to the kids, and we have kids not enjoying it as a result of it. I just want to pick up on one thing that Michael said, which is important. Although it's not about winning, we don't want the kids going out there and losing either. They're out there to compete and try and win. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not medals for all, but this is about doing it with respect and doing it for the right reasons, rather than winning at all costs, which we see in so many sports now, unfortunately. Please do not treat these games as if they're the World Cup. We are very fortunate to be hosting the World Cup next year. Let's it's not this year, and it's certainly not at this age group. So let's just keep it in perspective. Please volunteer to help the team, as Nicole went through and Michael alluded to there. And then again, I'm going to underpin it again. Remember, we are here for fun. That's really what it's about. So a couple of things I wanted to pick up from what Michael said. Guys, for those of you, even if you've attended soccer matches before, just a reminder, the players and the coaches are on one side of the field, the spectators are on the other. Michael did talk about space. Don't put a deck chair up around the corner, because the kids have got to actually take the kick from there. So you're going to encroach upon those. So any space should be along the back here, not in the corners and not behind the goals. And he did mention it should be at least 1 foot to 2 foot back from the touchline. We don't have to be on that sideline. Whether there's assistant refs or not, it's just dangerous. A kid feels restricted trying to keep the ball. Don't forget, that ball is not out of play unless the whole ball goes over the line. The whole ball, the entire ball, which means that that kid could be running outside of the white line on the side there where you could be sitting. So fairly dangerous if that happens. So here's an example that I took a picture of, which the referee probably should have stopped the game and asked the coach to move them. That's not on. So, Ben, I'd like to hand over to you to take us through the photo days and guidelines.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so photos this year or this spring are going to be at Scott Highlands Middle School, same place we had them last year. We're going to ask that parents and the child go into the gym, and then the child will find their coach within the gym. Once all the team is together, the coach will bring them into the cafeteria for their photos while the parent stays in the gym. Once their photos are done, the kids will come back into the gym, and you're free to go. The dates we have are May 27th and 28th. Once Sports Engine gets all the scheduling done, you'll have a time for your team set up. There's 2 important notes. We cannot have cleats in the school. That's a school rule. So don't wear cleats. They're not in the pictures anyway, so don't wear them. The photographer has soccer balls to take pictures with, so do not bring them along. And then with photos, I'm going to ask the board to be there as well. So if you want to meet with any of the board there, it's a great time to bring up questions in person with them. But you'll be receiving more information once we have it about photos.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks. And just to add on the soccer balls, guys, they're clean. Regulation soccer balls, the right sizes. They look great. I know that people want to bring their own soccer balls in, but this way they're all the right ball for everybody, and it causes less disturbances, frankly, with soccer balls being kicked around, thrown around. It's very chaotic. So just a postscript on player focus. I've used this quote before because I think it's a super one from Magic Johnson. All kids need is a little help, a little hope, and someone who believes in them. And so that's you guys. All right. So Nicole, scholarship opportunity.
Yeah, something exciting that we've added this year is that we're partnering with Eastview High School to help the students gain another opportunity for a scholarship. So in order to qualify for that, they would need to coach or assistant coach. So they could, a couple of them could do it together for one season. And then they just need to write a short essay and turn that in within 30 days within the of the season ending. But we thought this is a great way to partner to give back to the school, and they can gain their community service hours, they gain leadership skills. Great way for them to give back to the community, be a mentor and a positive role model for the younger players who love to have the high schoolers there. They do not need to be soccer players that are volunteering. We have a wonderful program, coaches program, that provides training and resources, and the high schoolers would go through the same as every other coach. So they would have all of that available to them as well. So if you have a student in high school, please let us know and see if they'd be interested.
Thanks, Nicole. We ran for the first time during the winter futsal program, both 3 to 5, 6 to 9. And I want John to take you through a really quick summary of how successful that was. John.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was something new that we started this season. It was partnered with Skills FC, one of the best futsal programs in the area. Kids loved it. We're going to offer it again for this upcoming season. I'm going to forewarn you, the registration is going to go quick. So we'll give prompt notification when it becomes available, probably be about 6 sessions. And last season we booked the entire spots within 48 hours. Great opportunity.
Yeah, and so just really quickly, if you're not familiar with futsal, it builds skills. So a lot of the Messis of this world, Ronaldo, if you recognize those players' names, Harry Kane, all learnt their skills playing futsal. It's an amazing skill way of, and Brazil, I think, actually started it, and it's how skillful Brazil is if you've ever watched any Brazilian players. So yeah, this is a great program, John. You handled it really well, and he's right. The within 48 hours, the slots went very quickly. So summer clinic, John.
Yeah, the other thing within player focus that we're going to do this year is partnering with the Eastview varsity teams. We're going to provide a summer clinic in between the spring and the fall seasons. It's going to be about 6 sessions in the evening time, Tuesdays at Corey Point. More information to come on that. So this is going to be another opportunity for your players to develop their skills and love of the game. Also coming back if we push the button again, Peter, we've got the Eastview Family Night, August 23rd. Mark that down on your calendars. We had this last year, it was a success. We had food trucks, we had raffle prizes. We gave away Peter Beaumont signed jerseys. That was a huge success. So please mark that down. It's going to be a doubleheader with the boys and girls varsity team taking on Minneapolis Washburn.
By the way, that was a joke.
It's never a joke.
You're still on, John.
Yeah, and also touching on the sideline project. I know we put this in the registration. We rolled this out this past fall. Personally, I wish I would have taken this project when my oldest daughter was playing, because I was one of those parents that was trying to coach from the sidelines. I thought I was doing a good job by doing it. If you take this 15 minutes, I just said 15-minute course, you're going to see that maybe that's not the right approach. What I did alternatively was become a coach. We have lots of volunteer coaches opportunities if that's something that you want to continue doing. You'll see some more communication that comes out from there. Also within the Soccer Parent Resource Center, there's tons of information on what soccer is, game plans, how to interact with your player, even if you're new to soccer or you're old and you played previously. I think it's a great reminder to a lot of the rules and sort of the things that the players go through.
Yeah, so John brought this to us. We trialed it last year. Our investment has gone up this year to do this, and so if we don't get any engagement, we're not going to invest in it again. So I would please ask you for 15 minutes. I learned some stuff on this as well. It's well worth investing 15 minutes in, and you can find it online. So I think, John, have we got it on the website, a link to there yet or not? Do you know? John Pellica.
I'm not quite sure. I know it was in the registration. There's been multiple emails that are sent out.
So I'll ask John.
There'll be another push for it again.
Yeah, I think we should put it on a link on the website to it. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay, on the home run here, we're going to use an expression from a totally different sport that's got nothing to do with us. I'll just finish off with the goals. Goals for us is to make sure that these guys in the middle are supported by the other three. And so it really should all be out I've gone full circle here. This is what I started saying right at the outset of our discussion this evening. We're right on time. We're at 7 o'clock. So I've allowed 15 minutes for questions. So just a few more slides and then we'll open it up. I just wanted to talk about referees for a second. I'm one. I assign the referees with John Coleman. These kids that referee could be your kids that are playing. And yet we seem to have coaches and parents that treat them differently. And I never understand that, because they're still kids learning. They're not out there to be yelled at. They're not out there to be abused. They're out there to be helped. And so we're running a mentoring program this year. We have some fantastic referees. And I think one of the reasons is we have a zero tolerance program to any of that behavior I just described. And so if you, I'd hate you to become one of those parents, because you get a phone call from me, and it's not a pleasant one. So please not, let's get into that situation. I came across a cartoon the other day, which I thought was very, kind of summarized it, and I'll read it in case it's difficult to see. Two parents watching a kid's game. One says to the other, which one is your kid? Why? I wanted to tell them how awful they are. What's wrong with you? You can't say that to somebody else's kid. Huh? You've done that all game. What? Which one is your kid? The referee. So, you know, we don't want that to happen. I think it's fairly light-hearted, but it's got a message in there. So we are losing more refs to this game than ever before. 60% of the referees have left the game in the last 5 years in Minnesota. I'll give you one guess as to why that is, and I'll answer it for you. It's being yelled at by parents and coaches. So our request to you, last but not least, is please encourage by the way, just go back that slide. See how far back they've marked it up that the parents should be from the sideline, just out of interest. So our request to you is please encourage the players and be positive. Please offer to help your coach if you've got the time to do that, because it really helps them a lot. Let them do the coaching. You please use our resources. We've spent a considerable amount of time making sure they're there for you. And just remember, we are volunteers, just as the coaches are. We do it for the passion for the game and to make sure that the program we believe is one of the best. And then encourage the kids and yourselves to watch soccer on TV. We've got a World Cup coming up next year. You can watch every English Premier League game, which I would argue for obvious reasons is the best league in the world. And YouTube has got zillions of plays and games that you can source. So if there's a competition between what's on TV, they can go to YouTube. All right, with that, I'm going to thank you so much for putting your kids into our program and trusting us with them. And I really genuinely, sincerely tell you that we're going to make sure this is a good program this year. We're very committed, as you can probably tell already.